Chapter 5. McKenna. I left Luke at the apartment that morning. Juliet and I wanted to have some girl time. She was the only real friend I had made at school. I was enjoying myself, but between that and Luke, I didn't have time to meet new people. Not that I really cared to. Luckily, Juliet was Luke's best friend's girlfriend. It made things so much easier having another couple to be friends with. I drove over to Juliet's dorm room. We were going shopping, so I'd taken the car for the day. When I got there, she was waiting outside for me. She hopped in and I could tell from her smile she was excited to get out. "Hey, how are you?" I asked. "I'm good. Still a little on edge from last night. I needed this time." She had come to the Proelium with Bobby and me, her first time going. Even though this is Link's second year fighting in Legacy, Juliet is a sweet girl. She isn't into all of this fighting stuff. She's so worried about Link every time he fights. I'm an army brat, so I'm no stranger to combat. That's why I don't get nervous watching Luke. He's a great fighter, probably the best I've ever seen. He taught me how to protect myself. Even though we do everything together, he wanted to feel confident that if for any reason he wasn't around, I could ward off an attacker. "So, Jules, how are you and Link?" "We're good. Couldn't be any better. We're going up to Vermont for the weekend. We both love snowboarding, so we figured we might as well make a trip while we have the time. You and Luke should come with us." Winter sports weren't really big for Luke and me. We liked to watch the Winter X Games when they were on, but that's not something we actually would like to do. I know personally I would rather be hot than cold. "That's so nice, but we wouldn't want to impose," I said. "Besides, Luke and I are more warm weather types." "No worries, not too many people like the snow. This is a really nice car, by the way." "Thanks, Luke loves it. Probably almost as much as me," I joked. "Do you think he'd mind if I drove it?" I didn't have a problem with that, and I knew Luke wouldn't mind either. "Sure," I said, and I pulled over to the curb. I wasn't expecting what happened next. "Wow, this car is ridiculous," she said. "A Challenger SRT8, 392-inch engine displacement, 6.4-liter Hemi, pushing 470 horses and a 6-speed manual transmission. This car does 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds. I had no idea, been under the impression that she was just a nice, sweet girl. "I didn't know you knew about cars," I said. "Yeah, Link doesn't even know. It's kind of a secret. My dad used to own a shop. Every day after school I'd go there and he'd teach me about cars. He would have killed for a car like this. We used to go to car shows together all the time. He always said one day he'd buy a Junker 71 Dodge Challenger and rebuild it. That's so great. Has he found one yet?" "No, he hasn't, and he won't be able to now. My father passed away 2 years ago." "I'm so sorry. I had no idea." "It's okay. My dad was sick. I was actually happy when he went, because he didn't have to suffer anymore." What did he have, if you don't mind me asking?" "Huntington's chorea, a neurodegenerative genetic disorder, incurable. It slowly kills by breaking down the brain until you cease to function. There's a 50-50 chance a child will develop it if a parent has. Luckily, I tested negative. I was heartbroken when he died. He was my best friend. I went to a dark place after, pretty much closed myself off to the world, from people. And then, a few months later, a guy of my dreams fell in love with me, and he reminds me a lot of my dad. That's why I get so nervous about watching him fight. I know Link is a good fighter. He can handle his end, but I can't help it. I would go insane if he got hurt really badly, or worse. I watched my dad die for 10 years. I don't think I could deal with it a second time." My heart had sunk when she told me about her father. How do you cope with losing a true love, the only part of you that makes you whole? The dark mood had passed by the time we reached the mall. We found as close of a spot to the entrance as we could and went in. Neither one of us had anything in mind to buy. We liked simply walking around and talking. "Hey," she said, "I have to go to the bathroom really quick." Waiting for her, I couldn't stop thinking about our conversation in the car. I loved my family, but I couldn't fathom losing Luke. He is my compagnon d'âme. Tristan to my Isolde, my best friend. I was having fun with Jules, but I missed Luke. It's not the same hanging out with your girlfriends when your lover is your best friend. I was looking forward to getting back to him and send him a text. "What are you doing? I love you." While waiting for him to text back, I couldn't help but notice a glimmer in the store window I was leaning against. I peered in to get a better look. It was an engagement ring with a round, central cluster of diamonds. I had never asked the question, but I could definitely see myself marrying Luke. There was no doubt that we belonged together. We'd been attached at the hip for so long by then. I guess I was nervous bringing it up because I didn't know how Luke would react. What if he didn't want to? I'd feel like a fool. I would marry him tomorrow if he wanted. "Okay, I'm back. You wouldn't believe the line in there." "What are you looking at?" Juliet asked. "This little engagement ring. Just a thought." Mrs. Luke Hart. Mrs. McKenna Hart. Sounds fantastic to me. You guys were made for each other. I just know I better be the maid of honor when it happens. But I knew I'd never have an answer if I didn't bring up the subject with Luke. I promised myself I'd talk to him soon. We left the mall and headed home. We got hungry, so we stopped at a great burger joint she knew not far from campus. We thought the boys might be hungry, so we ordered them a couple burgers too, all to go. We'd already left the place when Juliet sighed. Damn it, I think I left my phone inside. Wait 1 second while I go and find it. Yeah, no problem. While I waited, I checked on my phone to see if Luke had texted back. There was one new message. I love you too. The meeting was interesting. Tell you about it when you get home. I wondered what was so interesting and had opened my purse to put my phone away when I was approached by 4 guys, 2 of whom stopped right in front of me. Excuse me, I said. Hey, hottie, nice car. Why don't you let me drive you around, huh? I can give you a great ride. Back off, I said. I'm warning you. Warning me? You're not going to do anything. I was trying to be nice, but I don't have to be. You should be begging me to come with you. The guy grabbed my forearm. I snatched it away, wishing Luke was there. The guy continued to come at me. So what's it gonna be? You gonna beg like a good little girl, or am I just going to have to take what I want from you? Out of nowhere, I heard a voice say, she isn't going to be begging for anything. It was Owen, the guy Luke was going to fight in Hayes. What was he doing there? And why was he helping me? This is no business of yours, the guy said. I'm making it my business. 4 of you against her? Doesn't seem fair to me. Why don't we even the odds a bit? How about you 4 versus me? Owen offered. The guy harassing me hesitated. He wanted to take the chance, but backed down. His friends seemed to share his feelings, because they started backing away as well. Owen watched them until they turned the corner. You okay? He asked me. I'm fine. Thanks for helping me. He raised a finger. I know you. You were at Hayes a while back. You're Luke's girl. Yes, I am. He'd be grateful to you, too. Save it. I didn't do it for him. Luke and I still have unfinished business. This was a separate matter. You're his girl, and your loyalty should lie with him. I won't stand by and watch some thugs threaten a defenseless woman. I'm not defenseless. I can take care of myself, and I don't recall having asked for help. Please, even if you did ward 1 off, maybe even 2, there's no way you could have handled 4 of them. Whether you asked for it or not, you needed my help, and I saved your ass. So say thank you. I'm not saying thank you, I said. McKenna, what's going on? Juliet asked. She'd finally found her phone. Nothing, he was just leaving. Owen turned away. What was his issue? If he had a problem with me because of Luke, why help me? I was perfectly capable of handling myself. Really? She said. When I found my phone, I looked out the window and saw Owen standing next to you. What did he want? Nothing. These jerks were harassing me and he made them leave. Owen is not a good person. That night in Hayes, he only came in to start a fight. He and his friends had no right being there. What do you know about him? All I know is what Lynx told me and what one of my friends said. After the party, Link was going on about how Nico should have fought Owen then and there. Apparently, Nico and Owen have known each other for a long time and got into an altercation outside the arena. Link said that Owen's killed more people in Legacy than anyone else. What about your friend? What did he say? She, Juliet pointed out. She used to date him not too long ago. She said that he was arrogant, neglecting, and abusive. He would verbally rip into her, and one night she showed up at my door distraught. They'd gotten into an argument, and Owen had hit her. She tried to press charges, but the cops wouldn't pursue it. She left school a week after it happened. Then why would he help me? It wasn't that big a deal, but I listened to what Juliet had said. Hopefully I wouldn't run into him by myself again. We got into the car. I dropped her off at her dorm room and then went home. Luke had already gotten back. When I came in, he had music blasting and was working out in the living room. I said, "Hey," as I walked in. He stopped what he was doing and rose to greet me. He was wearing shorts, and sweat was dripping down his chest. I have to admit, I still get excited when I see him looking so powerful. The veins in his biceps popping out, his pronounced pecs and tight six-pack, unshaven beard, tattoos. I love all of him. I know it might seem strange, but the few hours I had been away from him were too long. I hurried over to him and fell into his arms. It's not the same going places without him. He makes me feel safe, understands me, and doesn't judge. "How's Jules?" he asked. "She's good. We had a nice time today. We really connected and we've become closer. Juliet invited us to Vermont this weekend. She and Link are going snowboarding while they have the time." "That was nice of her," he said, "but I'm not a big fan of the cold." I smiled. I started to tell him about what had happened earlier with Owen. Before I could get it out, though, he started talking about his meeting at Aurelius. I met Bobby's father, Thomas Goodwin. He and Professor Shields have been friends for ages. Shields wanted me to meet him. Mr. Goodwin is a big part of Aurelius. While we were talking, the head of Crassus barged into Shields' office unannounced. His name is Lazarus Caius Crassus. Goodwin and Shields warned me that Lazarus most likely wants to see me dead because of my blood history. They said that long ago, his ancestor was given the task of killing Spartacus and failed. Now that he knows I'm the Echo, Lazarus thinks he can redeem his ancestor's honor. I don't want you to worry, but it would be wrong for me to keep this from you. Lazarus Crassus is a callous individual, and it's possible he may go as far as to try to get to me by coming after you. I've never lied to you, and I'm not going to start now. You deserve to know, but I promise I will lay down my life making sure no harm ever comes your way. The assurance and softness in his voice were genuine. I know it probably hadn't been easy to tell me that, but Luke was right. He didn't lie to me, and after my encounter with Owen, I wasn't looking forward to going anywhere without Luke. I know, I said.